ladies. Erg. How are ya? Hello, hello. Happy Friday, everybody. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. Never fails. Most at least once a weekend, I forget to move the microphone closer to my face so y'all can hear me. You can hear me, right? So, yeah, at least once a weekend, right? So we are being broadcast live tonight, of course, on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, and on YouTube. Hello, YouTube world. If any of you have joined, can't tell. I know Paranormal Portal is off doing their own thing this weekend, so yeah. I don't know if y'all joined me or not. No matter how you are listening to me, make sure you stop in and say hello in one of the chat rooms, or you can always send me the email at wildepaisley@gmail.com, and that's WILDEPAISLEY @gmail.com. And let's see. Well, I'm live. I don't know why the notifications didn't go out. Very bizarre. Love technology, right? Isn't it fantabulous? Love it. And if you want to support the show, you can do that by going to the cash tag, and that is $ TheSpacesBetween. That's just to support my radio habit because, well, it's fun and frivolity isn't, well, I got to pay for it somehow, right? Keep the lights on. The sound waves going out. Or you can always check out the website, and that's www.paisleywild.com. The call lines are open tonight if you should have the urge to give a call. That number is 213-233-3998. Or if you're across the pond in the UK, it is 44203-393-2871. And to make sure that I am wide awake tonight, I had frosting. So Mini-Me, last week we celebrated her 7th birthday. It's crazy how time flies by. And she asked me for a tiered cake in square sections. Chocolate, preferably, with chocolate frosting in between the layers with chocolate chips in the chocolate. Hey, Lewis. And so, yeah, I had a little bit extra cream cheese chocolate frosting with chocolate chips. And I didn't make a pot of coffee tonight. Instead, I had frosting because that's so healthy. Yes, it is. Actually, I'm doing the gluten-free thing. It's been kind of a wild ride. I've lost, I think, 18 pounds. I really should start documenting some of my recipes that I've been playing with on the website, just because, you know, sometimes it is hard to convert gluten recipes to gluten-free because some of those things just don't transfer very well. And I'm not saying I have celiacs or I'm allergic to gluten or wheat or anything like that. Just I've noticed an increase in migraines with, after eating something with gluten in it, or eggs or dairy. So yeah, the frosting will be fun. So yeah, it's been kind of trippy and trying to figure out how to cook healthy food that's good for you and tastes halfway decent also. So yeah. Lewis, elevators being a portal into another world, very, very common. Mm-hmm. Elevators as a portal, yeah, very common. Very, 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 very common. I'll tell you how common. Elevator. So the up and down action of an elevator generally resembles or represents the ups and downs of life. Let's see. If you're going down, you're becoming grounded or coming back to reality. Or if you're going up, you're getting an elevated view of life in general. And, yeah, you're kind of getting in touch with your inner you, roughly. Let's see. The book is for sale. Wild Paisley, or Paisley Wild, I should say. That's me. The book is The Wild Pagan, A to Z. I'm hoping to have the next one done by the 4th of July. We'll see. It'll definitely be in July. I just don't know if it'll be as early as the 4th. Just because I had birthday party stuff last weekend, and then I have family visiting this next week. And so it's been kind of an adventure trying to get all the bits and pieces done and such. Because, well, life, everything takes more time than you originally planned, right? No matter how much time you plan. I've gotten to that point where it's like, this is going to take me X amount of time, and so I just double it and figure that's going to be close, and I'm just going to roll with it. Because, yes. So, as I mentioned, Paranormal Portal is out of town. They are off doing the Bigfoot conference in Medellin Falls. Bigfoot, Medellin Falls. I was telling somebody that they were going to go talk about Bigfoot and on purpose. It's like, yes, on purpose. Okay. It was funny. The whole thing was just kind of hilarious. Wow, even our local TV stations got in on the whole Bigfoot festival talking about it. Wow. I'm just kind of surprised. I got to click on this real quick. 2 days of Bigfoot. Yep. Our local news stations even covered it. Wow. I'm just totally surprised. Normally our local news doesn't cover anything halfway decent like that. Although one time this lady lost control going around a curve and there was supposedly alcohol involved. I don't remember exactly, but essentially she said she went off the road because it was funny. It's like, sure, mm-hmm. Right. Is Bigfoot around? Yeah, sure, absolutely. However, don't blame Bigfoot for your car accident. So yeah, let's see. Again, Ken Gerhardt, Larry Beans Baxter, Kevin Leellen, Dr. Robert Alley, J.C. Williams, Dr. Igor Burtsev from Russia, Russell Acord, Sean Corson, and Tom Seawood. Bob Gimlin will be there also. And it's super exciting. And I'm really, really looking forward to the footage that Don and Brent are going to have when they come back. It'll be a very, very good time. There's even a 5K Bigfoot race on the 19th, so it's tomorrow. Okay. Yep. 5K race. I'll be darned. I think that's hilarious. Do they dress up as Bigfoot? I sure hope there's video of that. I don't actually see Brent or Don running in a 5K Bigfoot race, but I think it'll be good. Yeah. I'm just seeing people dressed up as Bigfoot running down the road. So yeah, that'll be fun. There better be video. I'm gonna have to send Don and Brent a few messages. So Lewis wants to know have I ever encountered a Bigfoot personally? So I have not been face to face with a Bigfoot. But I do live rurally in North Idaho, and if it wasn't Bigfoot out in the backyard, then it was something else equally as large. You know how that creepy feeling that you get when you're walking into a new space and the lights are off, and you're pretty sure it's a basement, and you don't know what the stairs look like, and it kind of freaks you out a little bit. That whole feeling The stranger danger. There's something staring at me, and I am not at the top of the food chain. Yep, had that feeling. It was a bit eerie and irksome, and I have come across Bigfoot structures, and yeah, I believe in them. I believe in a lot of the paranormal stuff out there. Yeah, I do. I think it is awfully egotistical of man to assume that we are it as far as the food chain goes, or being the top of the pack, regardless of it being, wildlife or other cryptids or aliens or any of that stuff. I feel confident saying it's all out there. And my ego is not big enough to say that I am it. So, yeah, no, there's more. Period. So, real quick, one last news item. I have family in town, so I will not be live tomorrow night. It'll be a rebroadcast on TFR, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, TalkStream Live, and YouTube. Sorry, I'm just not going to have anything live. It's family that I haven't seen in a while, especially with the COVID stuff going on. And I just want to spend time with the family. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. I think if you see paranormal creatures or cryptids in dreams, Lewis, I sure hope you're journaling about that, because I think it's important to journal stuff. And let's see. I got a spell, because I can. Let's see if I have a cheat here. So for cryptids, nope. Interesting. My little dream dictionary that I use the most does not have anything about cryptids. Interesting. Which I think is unfortunate, because when we do see paranormal type things in our dreams, they do have meaning. They do have a different connection. According to my dream dictionary, paranormal stuff means that you are refusing to take responsibility for your actions, or you tend to let things happen instead of making things happen. I have to tell you, I disagree with this particular one, because sometimes the paranormal or the cryptids that we see in our dreams are actually trying to communicate with us, and not just, being symbolic. So yeah, this is why you do need to do some sort of journaling with your dreams. You have to. Period. That's why dream dictionaries exist, guys. Use them. They're important, because if you don't write it down, it didn't really happen, right? So, moving on. Tonight, I'm talking about Litha, or Midsummer. Summer Solstice is coming up. It's this weekend. Can you believe that already? It's Sunday. Sunday. And the celebration of Litha is not just a pagan celebration or a Wicca celebration. It's something that multiple cultures around the world actually participate in, because at this point, in theory, your crops are in. You're just letting things grow. You want things to grow well so you can harvest later and have a good harvest. And a lot of the really, really hard work of spring has been done at this point. If you're a farm kid, you know this. And you're waiting for the next thing to happen. So in the farming community or agriculture community, if you put up hay, well, you're getting ready. You'll be doing the cutting of grass here shortly. So, it's just that weird pause from planting to the next step of harvesting or preparing for the harvest. So for modern day pagans, Litha is a real solid day of inner power and brightness. Now, some do find a quiet place to meditate and focus on the light and dark forces, because this is the longest day of the year, shortest night. But others prefer to celebrate outside with a fire or other things. Um, some European traditions use set big wooden wheels on fire, roll them down the hill and into a body of water. Well, hello, Mr. Don. How's it going? Hey, are you going to take video? So Don's in the chat room. Don, are you going to take video of the 5K Bigfoot fun run tomorrow morning? Because we kind of want to see all the people dressed in costume. It'll be fun. So historically, Litha is a celebration of when the battle between light and dark takes place. So the Oak King and the Holly King are battling for control. Now, for me and for many pagans, the Oak King and the Holly King are just two aspects, or the two faces of Kanunos, because it's just two aspects of the same deity. Don says, "Oh hell no, he's not taking video of the big 5K." I'm not saying you should run in it. I'm just saying you should stand outside and take pictures of it. I think it should be funny. I think it'd be great. Anyways, so during the solstice, the Oak King and the Holly King battle for control, and as they battle, the balance shifts, and the Oak King represents daylight. Rules from winter solstice or Yule to Litha, and that's when the days are getting longer. And so at this particular Yule, the summer solstice, the Holly King wins, and he starts to take control because he's represents the night or the dark, and the days will start to steadily get darker. And it's just a celebratory type of thing. So Mr. Don says he's going to be busy elsewhere. Well, that's too bad. I was really hoping for Bigfoot costumes, because that would have been funny. If you are going to celebrate outside with a big fire, make sure you're practicing a safe fire burning, because it is drying out here on the west side of the U.S. The weather's been quite odd, and you don't want the fire to spread. But have a big fire ritual. Historically, people would jump over the fire, and that was to encourage the crops to grow. And the higher you would jump over the fire, in theory, the taller your crops would get, and the healthier they would be. Nowadays, we don't do that quite as much. But jumping the fire is still it's a big magic thing. So you're, instead of focusing on your crops getting more robust or bigger, maybe it's your garden, maybe it's your herbs, maybe it's your job. You want to make sure your job is going to be profitable for you, because, like I said, interesting year. This is one of those big holidays that's really good to celebrate outside, especially if you have kiddos, because they can throw pine cones into the fire. Does it represent intentions or things they want to accomplish? And it's, one that, everybody loves sitting around a campfire anyways, right? You drink your mead, excuse me, or your cider or whatever spirits you like to drink. And you just, relax and have fun with your family and your friends and your fellow practitioners. So this is very a family-oriented, I think, event, instead of like Beltane when it's all the single people get together and dance. Well, there's no more it's not just single people right now. Hi, Elaine. It's families. Now, Litha, ironically, being in the month of June, is a good time to get married or practice love magic of some sort. And or hand fasting, I should say. And because historically it's been as a pagan celebratory time or pagan tradition to practice the hand fasting, that's part of the reason why there are so many weddings in the month of June. I do have some random miscellaneous facts about Litha that we'll talk about later, just because why not? I love random facts because they're interesting. Let's see. Generally speaking, most people look at either winter solstice or summer solstice as a time to find your inner balance, because instead of the equinox where the days and nights are about the same time, but you find your inner balance between the light and the dark within you, your balance between your fire and your water of self and the different bits and pieces to you. Because if you don't have a good solid balance, it's harder to focus upon your practice and your belief set, and your spirituality. The other day I was on Lucky's show, and we're talking about spirituality a little bit. And as I've mentioned in the past, I feel that the pagan path is one of a spiritual discovery, spiritual self. Hey, Wanda. And it's, I don't know, I think it's very, very important to understand that learning about your pagan self is learning more about your spiritual self. In years past, people wore garlands of flowers and herbs to ward off your evil spirits that might appear on summer solstice. They're trying to get through. This may be where your daisy chains came about, or some of the other garlands that people wear. Let's see. Oh, in ancient Greece, the summer solstice coincided with the beginning of the new year and also marked the 1 month countdown to the opening of the Olympic Games. So, once upon a time, we weren't as focused on days of the week or marking time like we are now. I mean, how many people have multiple clocks in their house or calendars or such, like that? Instead, once upon a time, big major events were the hallmarks. So the full moon, the solstice, the equinox, those are a big deal. And as a result, they would often use those big deals or those large markers and then count the days from there for different celebrations. So a summer solstice is a very noticeable time when the night is rather short. And so that's when they would count down or start the clock for the Olympic Games. In the U.S. here, Native American tribes have, recognized the summer solstice and observed it, pretty much forever. And I don't know as much about those, other than a lot of it's very, very fascinating. I do recommend you do some research or talk to someone who does know. Let's see, the medicine wheel, that's often a really big part of the First Nation people's beliefs, has 28 spikes in it, or spokes, I should say, and the wheel itself is aligned with the sunrise and sunset of the solstice, and it's only accessible during the summer months. And so, it's in I think Wyoming, at the top of Bighorn Mountain, and it's just a really fantastic place to go if you get a chance to. Don't go there without permission, though. They're quite similar to Stonehenge or any of the other henges that might be around. Now, if you are practicing or celebrating solstice at any of the major or even minor locations where there is henges or other historically significant monoliths, please be respectful. Don't paint on them, don't draw on them. There's no need to put Waldo was here or anything like that. And if you carry in debris, make sure you carry your garbage out. Just be respectful. We're, generally speaking, pagans and witches are more respectful of Mother Earth. Not always, unfortunately. And so just make sure you're practicing, good paganism, and you pack in or pack out your trash that you pack in. It's just, please. And speaking of Stonehenge, there are quite a few people that do try to celebrate around Stonehenge. You have to have a permit nowadays. You cannot just show up and do your thing, because so many people were showing up that it was starting to destroy the site. And on the one hand, wow, that's really cool. On the other hand, are you kidding me? I think it's awesome that so many people are showing up to celebrate and have that kind of an experience. But just, again, be respectful of the area and not, just vomit your debris all over everything, because that's not cool. It just isn't cool. Let's see. We're almost to our first break. Can you believe that already? I swear. I get on the radio and just start going and going and going. Hey, Marie. Good morning, my dear. And then suddenly it's break time. So I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to take the next step and talk about the next article that I've got coming up. Although I suppose I could, but I'm not going to. I want to wait until after the break. So, cheers. I'm drinking tea. It's not actually an alcohol. But I needed a little something. Yep, going to break. I gotta find the button. It's crazy. Mr. Don isn't here, and I seem to lose my mind, and I don't know where anything is. All right, be right back. I promise. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. I hope you guys are having just a fantabulous day that ends in Y. Tonight we're talking about Litha a bit. Some of the different traditions and the history and some random factoids. Because yes, why not? Let's see. Over the break, Wanda wanted to know when is the exact time of the solstice, and that will be on the 20th. It'll be at 9:31 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So you write down, set your alarm, do your thing, because yeah, it's time. Flowers are blooming, barbecues are going. Here it's finally warm enough. Mini meal will probably play in the sprinkler because why not? Then yeah, I think there's going to have to be a fire because I don't have to go to work the next morning. And yeah, I think it'd be a good time to have just a fire and roast marshmallows and have some s'mores. Set a few marshmallows on fire, why not? So, now, the different spiritual paths do have slightly different ways of celebrating Litha or Midsummer. And you can do just the basics and set up your own altar for Litha if that's something that you want to do. Because maybe you don't have the opportunity to go practice with or celebrate with a group of people. I know quite a few communities are still dealing with COVID lockdowns around the world, and just weird times. So you can do your own thing, celebrate and decorate your own home or your altar. It is a sun celebration, so make sure you're using sunny colors or solar colors. That'd be your yellows, your oranges, your reds, the bright, vibrant colors. You can cover your altar with cloths that represent the solar aspect of the season. It'd be like your yellows again. Now, if you have an outdoor altar or have the opportunity to do so, have a piece of furniture like a table or cabinet in bright colors to reflect the solar theme. Don't forget lights like candles, citronella lamps, some of the twinkly lights, like the lights behind me. Something that brightens things up, and bring that solar energy even at night. And solar lights, hello. I mean, you can't get much more solar than that. At night, as far as chakra work goes, the color orange or red orange is related to the sacral chakra. Oh, happy birthday, Murray. Let's see. And it's associated with creativity and inventive ideas. Using the color orange or orange tones is a great way to revitalize your passion for art, music, and other creative ideas. Yellow is tied to the solar plexus and your need to develop a healthy self-esteem. So if you're doing Litha rituals or working to improve the way you feel about yourself, give your confidence and personal power a boost, and wear some yellow. Be cheerful. Cheerful yellow. Some of the solar symbols are circles or discs, like the fire wheel, that type of thing. Oranges are really solar. You can make masks. You can use pinwheels or other disc type things for represent the sun. Bridget's cross. You have that up as part of your representation of your summer stuff. Now, a little more controversial. Okay, a lot controversial here. The swastika. Everybody associates the swastika with the Nazi movement and the insanity that Hitler started. But originally, the swastika was a good luck symbol to both the Hindus and the Scandinavians before it ever became associated with the Nazis. Unfortunately, in the history of everything, bad guys often take a very popular or positive symbol of the people, and they effectively steal it and corrupt it for their own uses and their own purposes. So nowadays, instead of everybody looking at the swastika as a good luck symbol, they see it as something very negative and hateful and angry. So just be aware, as you're looking around and seeing different symbology out in the world, pay attention to what the symbolism should have meant originally, not what it's been mutated to. Keep an open mind. Let's see. Other things that represent the sun, like your orange, basket of fruit or contemporary fruit, vegetables that might be ready to harvest. You put those onto your altar. You could, paint something. You absolutely could. Let's see. You could do God's eyes in sunny colors. Some people see God's eyes as the evil eye, but it's just the marble of one color with the dot that looks like the oddball. Use reds, golds, or yellows instead of the traditional blue, white, and black. Sunflowers. Okay, I have to tell you, I love sunflowers. They're probably one of my favorite flowers ever. They're just cheerful. Very, very cheerful. And in theory, right now, sunflowers should be getting taller. Now, where I'm at, unfortunately, no, they're not. Because I live a little bit further north, so our growing season is a lot shorter. But sunflowers are growing, and sunflowers will often help you to figure out the time of day because they are tall generally, and as the sun moves, the head of the sunflower turns also, which I think is interesting. Oak trees and acorns are also associated with solar power and energy, and they should be flourishing right now. So you can pick the fresh acorns or the green acorns and leaves from your oak trees and have them on your altar as well, just if that's what you do. Make sure you're asking the tree and giving thanks. Anytime you're wildcrafting or harvesting from live trees or live plants, make sure you do, say, hey, thank you for doing this, and leave something, a little bit of fertilizer, pour a little bit of tea out, that kind of thing. Often plants really appreciate that. If you steam vegetables in water, or with water without any seasoning or anything, a lot of times there's really good nutrients in the water then, and you can add that to your plants, whether out in the garden or in your house too. Let's see. So, let's see. Yep, prepare your household altar. A lot of people do decorate for the different seasons anyways. They just don't realize they're kind of doing it according to the pagan seasons and Sabbats. Let's see. A Midsummer Night's Fire ritual. Again, the big bonfire. And yeah, there's some real simple prayers and things that you can do on your own. Yeah, you don't have to go out and have the big celebration. You can also go to the beach. Beaches often are a combination of both the earth energy and the water energy. And as you combine it right there at the beach, there's some really good positivity there. And have a summer beach festival type thing going on. Let's see. Ways you can add stuff for kiddos, which I think is fantastic. Oh, where did my link go? I just clicked on it. And there's that. And, I get recipes for Litha. No, not even for Litha. Interesting. The link is broken. Well, you could do like leaf rubbings. So if you put a piece of paper over a fresh leaf and use crayons to rub over it, or charcoal or pencils or something like that. You can make a rubbing of the different leaves and cut them out and hang them around. I know Mini-Me loves that. Or let's see, what else have I done? I've done butterflies, where you cut out the shape of a butterfly with construction paper and with little keyholes in it, so you have cutouts and shapes. And then you put tissue paper in and you glue it all together, and it makes when you hang it in the window or something, the light comes through the tissue paper and lights it all up. It's kind of pretty, kind of cool. Let's see, Mini-Me did a jar last year. It was just a regular mason jar, and using just basic Elmer's glue with tissue paper, we glued the little pieces of torn up tissue paper all over the jar in different colors and patterns and stuff. And then just from the dollar store, they have the little mini LED lights with the AA batteries. Just poke those in the jar and turn it on periodically, and it's pretty, it's colorful, and it's fun, and it's real simple to do. And I know the kiddos really love to create things, especially during the summer, when often all they want to do these days is play their video games and watch TV instead of going outside to play. Send them out to collect some acorns. Paint the acorns different colors. Spray paint them orange and red and yellow, and put them on a stick and call them flowers. You can make all sorts of pine cone bouquets. There's all sorts of fun things you can do. Let's see. There is summer solstice is also associated with Vestalia, so that was an ancient Roman festival, and Vestalia. Yes, we are, Marie. We're in summer. Vestalia is to honor the Roman goddess Vesta, who guarded virginity. So she is sacred to women, alongside Juno, who was a protector of marriage. There's a long celebration. It started June 7th and went until the 15th, and it was for all women to visit and make offerings to the goddess. But the Vestal virgins guarded a sacred flame at the temple and had 30-year vows of chastity. It's a long time. Oh my. As I mentioned earlier, June is a very, very popular time for hand fastings and weddings. Cakes are just awesome. You don't have to have a marriage ceremony or a hand fasting ceremony. You can combine aspects of both to customize your own ceremony for your purposes. It represents you and your significant others. You're coming together to be one. Now, I haven't done any hand fastings yet. I am able to do them, but mostly it's been blessings and that kind of thing. But yeah, and yes, legally I can perform hand fastings. Marie's talking about having snow. I'm sorry, dear. I'm not ready for snow. I'm just excited about having warm weather. That's crazy, Marie. So here in the west part of the U.S., we've had less rain, less moisture in the last 6 months than we normally do. And so technically we're experiencing droughts. We had an interesting thunderstorm roll through this past week. Don Longbeard mentioned that he saw cross-hatching of the chemtrails in the sky, and then when the storm rolled through, it was very much just constant thunder, 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 thunder. We had a bolt hit in the driveway. You could see it came down, it struck in the driveway, surrounded by 60-foot trees and the house and everything else, and it hit the driveway. Weird to me. But there was no ozone smell. It was, I don't know, it was a weird storm. So we'd had some rain, and there was a couple of little bitty fires that got sparked, but generally speaking, everything went away, and we didn't get the big fires. But I don't know, it's been an interesting summer so far. Let's see, back to the hand fastings. There's the pagan friendly broom jumping. Jump over the broom, jump over the fire. They're just a regular hand fasting with the ribbons. There's all sorts of different ways you can customize your hand fasting ceremony to make it, really, really meaningful to you. Let's see. You can have an elemental garden if you wanted to celebrate that way, or add something that's elemental in your garden. Mini-Me has kind of a fairy garden started in the backyard, and there's a lot of like bleeding hearts, the flowers. They're super pretty, but I think there's little gnome houses that are supposed to go in, and a little bitty fountain and some other things. But there's going to be different representations of the elements within the garden also, so I think it'll be fun. You look at your fiery types of incense. That could be your cinnamon, your dragon's blood, that kind of thing, to represent the warmth of the season. You can also make your own Litha blessing besom or broom to hang on your door as a welcome to your summer guests. So, making your own broom actually is pretty straightforward. You can use grass or rushes or reeds or even branches. I was watching a how-to video the other day, and the gentleman used birch branches to make his brooms that he was selling. They were custom brooms. It's like, interesting. So I may have to look into that just a bit more, because I thought it was interesting. Mead is also a kind of a big deal for Midsummer, because, hey, the honeybees are out doing their thing, and if everything has been going well for your hives, you should be starting to see a fair bit of the first batch of honey, or even maple syrup or maple sugar should be quite accessible at this point, because most of the maple syrup has been harvested and rendered down. Let's see. I like red poppies because, to me, they're very symbolic of summer. So I like to plant those and have them blooming right about now. For some reason, my seeds didn't work this year, which was vexing, but a place where I've planted poppy seeds in the past, I got to drive by the other day, and holy cow, are there poppies all over the place. They look just fantabulous. And I don't know, I love the colors of the red poppies. They're so vibrant. So vibrant. Let's see. If you're out giving gifts for, this time of year for Litha, let's see. The gift of fire. Technically that could be just matches or fancy lighters or something like that. It's just a way to represent fire. I use charcoal discs occasionally for burning incense, depending on the type of incense I have. So having that available is kind of handy also. Oak decorations or oak decor, whether it's oak-shaped leaves or acorns. It's very, very representative of the holiday. Mistletoe has been revered by the Druids for pretty much ever. And when mistletoe grows on oak, so mistletoe is considered... my brain just shut off. It's a toxic plant. It feeds off of the trees that it grows on. So if mistletoe is growing on an oak tree, it's actually more potent. And because the Druids consider the oak tree to be the noblest of trees. and grows between the heavens and the earth. And so oak and mistletoe is generally associated with Yule and winter solstice. It's also gathered quite a bit at Midsummer because it's at the height of its power at Midsummer. Let's see. Herbs. A lot of herbs are starting to reach their peak and their potency. I've been looking at some of my the weeds, if you will, some of the wild plants that grow naturally, and I'll be harvesting some of them tomorrow, actually, just to start saving them up for the coming year, from a cold season and such. Wanda says that she had 5 feet of snow in less than 2 days in October. It is early winter, and she lost all of her fruit trees. Mistletoe is a climbing plant. A common plant that's used during the Yule season. It's hung from the ceiling, and if 2 people walk underneath the mistletoe, they're supposed to kiss underneath of it. It's supposed to be a romantic type of thing, but it's very, very toxic and poisonous, so you don't want to eat it. And if you do have it hanging up, you want to make sure your kitty cats cannot get into it, because, yeah, it's not good for them. But, yeah, if you want to give out gifts for Midsummer or Litha, herb plants, those are very, very good. Let's see. Other flowers, daisies. I love daisies. Sunflowers. There's so many different flowers blooming right now. I know my elderberry trees are blooming. Those are some of the things that I need to harvest. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Even though it's kind of the slow time before the harvest season, we're starting to kind of gear up and look at harvest and what can we gather for the coming year. Let's see. Mead is considered a divine solar drink, often because, well, it's kind of honey-colored, with magical and life-restoring properties. If you're celebrating a toast with mead to the life-giving abundance of the sun, I have not, Wanda. I have not heard of silver vein. Let's see. So honey, actually, or mead, has been used as a vehicle to medically treat people for pretty much ever since mead was kind of created, because a lot of the herb remedies that people would take, or the tinctures and such, tasted horrible, because they just do. I remember taking a tincture one time. It really tasted like someone had drug a birch tree through some vodka and dosed it up to me 2 tablespoons at a time. Did it fix what my problem was? Yes. Did it taste horrible? Yes. Did I want mead to wash that bad stuff down? Yes. So mead, it is the spoonful of sugar, makes the medicine go down. Let's see, silver vein. I don't know what that is, Wanda. Vine, silver vine. Silver vine. It's a species of kiwi. Similar to catnip. Interesting. This is more potent than catnip. I will have to look into that. I have a cat. She's currently sleeping on the floor at my feet. That drama. Let's see. Yeah, you can, for the colors of Midsummer, you can blue for the sky, green for the grass, yellow for the sun, red, orange, purple for the blooming flowers, any of those. Pretty much any of your bright colors you can use this time of year. Yeah, oak leaves, herbs, flowers, grasses, any of those things that are very, very common right now. Work very well on your altar, or as part of your decor around your home, or even your office, whatever it is. We have to save this one. It's a recipe for elderflower champagne. Wow. It's water, sugar, elderflowers, lemons, and white wine vinegar. Hmm. Interesting. Yep. I'm going to have to make that. Yeah, it said kiwi. It's a species of kiwi fruit in the Actinidaceae family. It grows in the mountainous areas of Korea, Japan, and China. So the silver vine can reach 5 to 6 meters of height at maturity and grows between 500 and 900 meters above sea level. Oh, break time. We'll be right back. That one just snuck up on me. We'll do some singing bowl when I come back. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. Alrighty. So it is singing bowl time because you know what? I think we need more of that in general. Yes. Oh, yes. Singing bowl. We need more singing bowl in the world. Without a doubt. More singing bowl. Kind of like more cowbell. Sometimes you just need more. So, let's see. You can do, we're talking about Litha tonight and summer solstice. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Lewis asked me a question, and I got to find the answer real quick, or else I'll completely forget. So Lewis wanted to know what the music was that we're listening on break. And now I have to remember where I stashed it. Not there. Is it there? Nope. Oh, it's in the folder titled Music. And it's not there. So it is a royalty-free site. I'll try to put the link in the show notes so I don't forget. Yes. So, moon bowl charm that you can do for Midsummer. So you need a glass or china bowl and a small white candle. And you're going to want a smaller candle because it's going to need to burn away completely. So like a small white votive candle. I use birthday candles a lot because they are small. They burn fast. Yeah, and I like them. So you're going to put water into a jug. You know, fresh water is best, preferably not lots of chemicals. You want to take the jug of water or pitcher of water, the bowl, and the candle outside and place them on the ground. And you're going to put the candle in a small candle holder and place it at the top of the bowl and light it. So it'll be at the midnight part of like a clock face. And then you're going to pour water into the center of the bowl and say, renewing water, shining bright, weave your charm in my bowl of light. And you're going to put your moon bowl in the moonlight so the light of the full moon is reflected into the water. And then you want to let the candle burn down. So you make sure you do this on a fire-resistant surface. And when the candle is burnt down completely, you're going to take your bowl of water and you're going to dip your hands into the water and splash it onto your face and say, by full moon charm, by full moon light, may inner beauty shine through tonight, brightest blessings of the goddess shine through me. And then you'll want to take the water that you don't use and you want to pour it out onto the earth to give as a way of saying thank you. If you have a plant or something that is representative of your path or your traditions, that's a good place to put the water. I have Groot, and so yeah, Groot actually would be the receptive or receiver of my moon water. Actually, I put moon water on Groot rather often because you know what? It's important. So there. All right, so Sweden, as we're talking about Midsummer, is a country that really celebrates Midsummer. And so I got some random factoids here. So initially in Sweden, the Midsummer Festival started as a way to welcome summer and fertility because once the crops are in and everything's growing, you got to take some time and have some fun. It's in Midsummer or Midsummer in Swedish. They've been celebrating for centuries. And so Midsummer tends to be a little spooky in Sweden because the city streets might be empty. Because everybody goes out to the countryside. They want to go celebrate and get out of town. So on Midsummer's Eve, often, everybody leaves town, goes out, and plays out in the wild. Now, the main thoroughfares are probably going to be congested because everybody's trying to get out of town. But once everything starts to just relax. So midsummer revelers pick flowers to find true love. Now, remember, this is specific to Sweden. So they have a tradition where they pick 7 different species of flowers and put them under their pillow. And according to legend, their future spouse will appear to them in a dream with those flowers in their pillow. And as a result of the fertility aspect of their midsummer celebrations, in about 9 months or 40 weeks, there is quite the population explosion that happens to Sweden, interestingly enough. During midsummer, they don't drink a lot of mead. They drink aquavit. They eat potatoes, and pickled herring, and strawberries. And then they have either beer or aquavit. And aquavit is a spirit distilled from potatoes or grains and flavored with either caraway or dill seed. They don't generally mask the flavors. They just kind of go with it. But occasionally do chase it with a beer. And they don't drink a lot of wine during this time. So, water, beer, or aquavit. That sounds a little... I do like a little bit of caraway. I do like a little bit of dill. But I don't know that I could drink a beverage where that is the dominant flavor. No. Probably not. So during midsummer, attendees of different celebrations often wear traditional clothing. So it's not just everybody showing up in jeans and t-shirts or board shorts and flip-flops and tank tops. They're actually wearing, clothing that is specific to the celebration. They might wear garden party type clothing, but generally they make an effort to wear traditional folk dresses or folk outfits according to their region. In some areas, that means women wear lace blouses and ankle-length skirts, or men might wear blue vests and elkskin pants, or they may make flower crowns. So it varies with the different regions. They have a song that is specific to midsummer. It is called Little Frogs. And the lyrics go, the little frogs are funny to observe. But they have a maypole with all the ribbons and everything. And while they dance around the maypole, they hop like frogs. It's, again, don't judge them on their festivals and such, because this is the way they celebrate, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure people would look at my Litha celebrations, be like, what you doing that for? So try to keep an open mind when you learn about other cultures and the way they celebrate the different holidays, and even the different holidays that they celebrate, because we're not all the same. We're all quite diverse and different, and we do all sorts of different things. Apparently, even IKEA celebrates midsummer. They do a midsummer smorgasbord for their customers. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet. Often has herrings, potato salad, fresh strawberries, which are very common midsummer dishes. I am not that big on pickled herring, honestly. I'm just not. That's a flavor I just have not been able to really get behind. No. I just don't. No. All right. Some random factoids about summer solstice. So, did you know summer solstice doesn't only happen on Earth? So Mars actually has a midsummer, and it's celebrated just, it'll be next week, so just a few days after the one that we have. Which, and to me, is really, really interesting because we often get so focused on the things that we're celebrating here on our planet that we don't always stop and think about what's happening on other planets. Yeah, they've got midsummer celebrations, solstice, equinox, all of that will happen in other places. They just, we get really focused on Earth. Solstice is a combination of the Latin word sol, which means the sun, and sistere, which translates roughly to standing still. So basically, solstice means the sun looks like it's standing still directly above us. So, yeah, at noon, it just doesn't seem to shift very much. Generally happens between June 20th and June 22nd. And marks the beginning of summer here in the northern hemisphere, or the beginning of winter in the southern hemisphere. Now, in some places, like in the extreme northern hemisphere, they have 24 hours of sunlight, which is a really long day. But because life doesn't stop just because the sun's up all the time or down all the time, they'll have midnight sports. So they'll play baseball at midnight because the sun's up, and why not? Another random factoid is the distance from the sun. It's called perihelion. So it's the common misconception is that the Earth is nearest to the sun during midsummer or perihelion, but actually it's the northern hemisphere is furthest from the sun, which is aphelion or aphelion. Aphelion. I think it's aphelion. So, because the way the Earth is tipped. Oh, hey, Justin is checking in from Medellin Falls. Hello, Justin. Justin is apparently going squatching on an old logging road out in the middle of nowhere. If his elevation is right, he will get at least 2 bars of service, if not 3 or 4. Just make sure that you're not actually getting service from a Canadian tower and you're going to get dinged for the Canadian service. Just be aware. So, the longest day at the equator is generally 12 hours of daylight. The northern hemisphere can experience days that are far longer. For example, the North Pole can experience 24 hours of sunlight. Areas such as Pennsylvania or Northern California might have over 15 hours of daylight. But Maine or Washington might experience 16 hours of daylight. So it all depends upon where you're at geographically, is how many hours of sunlight you might have. So it's not just, 12 hours, 12 and 12, or what have you. Let's see. So, Eratosthenes was an ancient Greek mathematician and astronomer. Used the angle of the sun in Alexandria during the summer solstice and the distance between the city and the sign to establish the circumference of the Earth. And in playing with his math, he came quite close to the accurate figure that we know of today as far as how big the Earth is. Random factoids, guys. The longest day in history, according to the Americans probably, was measured in 1912. That particular day lasted 24 hours and 4 milliseconds. So that's part of the reason why we have leap year, is every 4 years we have to catch up because there's an extra full day of light that we're trying to account for. Personally, I think we should just have 13 months. It'd be easier. Follow the moon. But nobody asked me, so. Let's see. Ancient celebrations. Many cultures around the world celebrate solstice in different ways. There's many ancient structures that are constructed to align with the solstice. So in ancient Maya cities, buildings were built such that they align with the sun in midsummer. And during the period, residents of the cities would gather to witness what appeared to be their king commanding the heavens. Stonehenge also has architectural links to the summer solstice. So, one of those things that most people don't realize is that just because you have more sunlight happening does not necessarily mean it's warmer. The hottest day during the summer here in the northern hemisphere does not happen in June. It generally happens in August. It's because the atmosphere and the oceans are currently absorbing the sun's rays and will release that heat in a couple of weeks and really bake us. Let's see, at noon, along the northern tropics, the shadows cannot be seen, so the sun is directly overhead. Let's see. Random study analyzing posts from about 2 million Twitter users found that positive messages were sent out more frequently when days are longer. Other studies have found that people exhibit higher happiness levels earlier in the day. One can therefore conclude that levels of happiness are relatively higher during midsummer, early in the morning. Well, it's kind of the opposite of seasonal affective disorder. Instead of feeling down because there's no sun, you're feeling up because there's extra sun. And that just, to me, makes sense. I have another little article here. This one's from Reader's Digest. So, every so often I would come across an article that just makes me want to thunk my forehead with my hand with an OMG, are you serious? Because some things to me just make total sense, and it should be obvious. Like, for instance, it's summer in the northern hemisphere in June, and in the southern hemisphere, it's winter. To me, it makes sense. Opposite parts of the globe, well, opposite types of weather. But this is something that we have to tell the American people on a regular basis. Not all of them, but some, is that it's not summer everywhere. It's actually winter in the southern hemisphere. And yeah, I'm just going to stop there because it doesn't make sense that people don't know that. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. So, midsummer is referred to the summer solstice, midsummer, Litha, or also known as St. John's Day for the Christians to commemorate the birth of John the Baptist. So many ancient cultures worship the sun in the past and have often had deities or rulers called sun kings and have practiced sacrifices during the solstice time. Supposedly, the Vikings were said to have hung dead human and animal bodies from trees as offerings to the gods. That's not always true. Well, I'm not saying it's not true or true, either one. It's just, sacrifices like that happened. Sometimes it was to scare away other people. Really, truly. Let's see. So according to pagan folklore, evil spirits would sometimes appear on summer solstice. So people would wear the garlands of St. John's wort to chase away the evil. It's just a pretty little white flower. It looks like a mini daisy, honestly. The Tropic of Cancer, which is the latitude on Earth where the sun is directly overhead at noon on the summer solstice, is called that because when solstice was established, the sun appeared in the constellation of Cancer. So it was just a happenstance. Let's see. Iceland's another one of those places where the sun doesn't really go down right now. And let's see. That's all. Wow. So many facts that, you know what, don't really add up. Let's see. What else do I have in here? Oh, in ancient Egypt, The summer solstice heralded the new year. So instead of being at Samhain, it was, solstice. Because the Egyptians believed that the sun, or the Sirius star, was responsible for the annual flooding of the Nile that they relied upon for agriculture. So because of this, the Egyptian calendar was set to the start of the year. The start of the year coincided with the appearance of Sirius, which is just after solstice. Let's see, so the Chinese honored yin on summer solstice, and on winter they would honor yang. So throughout the year, the Chinese believe that the powers of yin and yang wax and wane in reverse proportion to each other, similar to the Oak King and the Holly King. And at summer solstice, the influence of yang was at its height, but the celebration centered on the impending switch to yin at the winter solstice, and the opposite switch was honored. Let's see. So, legend has it that at summer solstice in 1633, that Galileo Galilei was forced to recant his declaration that the Earth revolves around the sun. Even with doing so, he still spent the rest of his life under house arrest. So many times in the past that people stood up and said, hey, this scientific fact is this, or that scientific fact was that, until everybody got on board. They were poo-pooed as crackpots and such, and were vilified and demonized. And isn't that just the way of it? It seems like anytime there's a new idea, people panic over it. That's like the new thing is the bad thing. If you've seen The Croods, that's all I can think of is, ooh, it's a new thing. It's gonna die. So yeah, be open-minded, folks. So on this list, in 1902, a British railway system employee named Moses B. Cotsworth attempted to institute a new calendar system that would standardize the months into even 4-week segments. To do so, he needed to add an extra month to the year. The additional month was inserted between June and July and named Sol, because the summer solstice would always fall during this time. Despite Cotsworth's traveling campaign to promote his new calendar, it failed to catch on. I think it'd make more sense to have 13 months, honestly. But, the ancient folks decided that something else was more important, so yeah. In ancient Greece, the solstice festival marked a time of social equality. So is the Greek festival of Cronia, which honored Cronus, the god of agriculture, often coincided with the solstice. And the festival was distinguished from other annual feasts and celebrations in that slaves and freemen were able to participate in the festivities as equals, which I think is really kind of interesting. Because, so often those who were considered less didn't, they had to celebrate their own way and didn't get the same benefits as the rest of the masses. So, let's see. Nope, I went over that one. I don't know why. Oh, nope, that's why. Oops, wrong button. Don't mind me, I'm talking to myself. Sometimes I have to. It's the only time I get good advice, right? If you're looking for summer solstice suggestions, instead of New Year's resolutions, make one for solstice. Journal more, meditate more, do more self-care. Self-care is so important, guys and gals. It's remembering to put clean socks on, or get up in the morning, or brush your teeth. It's not just getting the massage, although you should. It's taking care of yourself, literally. And as lockdowns are being eased and people are going back out in public, make sure you're taking care of yourself. Washing your hands should have been something you were doing all along. It shouldn't be a new thing. If you're sick, wear a mask or stay home. That your common sense should not be flying out the window just because the lockdowns are easing in places. So you just kind of pay attention, slow down, And, remember to focus on yourself. So during the week, if you are always go, go, go and taking care of other people, try to remember to stop and take a few minutes for yourself. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be 1 or 2 minutes. It could be 5 minutes. It could be 50 minutes. Whatever's going to work best for you. Do something for you. Meditate a little longer. Go for a walk. Now, if you have a pet, it's a good excuse. I got to go walk the dog. I'll be back after the dog's done. And that way you can have a few minutes to do your own thing. Be alone with your own thoughts. That means turn off the technology and just be alone with your own thoughts and focus on self. What do you want to accomplish in the coming months? I mean, first day of summer, first day of winter. What do you want to accomplish this season? So ponder that. Put it in your journal. You really should. All right, so we are going to break. We'll be right back, guys.
Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna, Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali. Inanna, Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali. Inanna.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. Hope you guys are having a fantastical Friday night, Saturday morning. Yeah. That last audio clip, if you guys heard that, it was from Chris and Cherie Geo. That was Cherie chanting the names of the deities. That's pretty freaking awesome. She's got a fantastic voice. Yes. Let's see. A little bit of maintenance real quick. Check out the website, www.paisleywild.com. I try to update it periodically with things going on in my world. I think I am going to be doing more recipe type things on there as I am adventuring into gluten-free, just because why not? I mean, why not? There's some things out there that need to be talked about, like how to substitute flour. I made pancakes the other day. They were fantastic. Actually, they were pretty freaking fantastic. You couldn't tell they were gluten-free. I was very, very excited. The cake for Mini-Me was not gluten-free because I didn't want to experiment yet on birthday cake. So by this time next year, who knows? Maybe it will be a gluten-free cake. We'll see. Let's see what else. As long as you're checking out websites, check out ialife.com. ialife is the official sponsor for Truth Frequency Radio. Combines the non-psychoactive properties of ayahuasca with high-quality CBD to help support you. Period. It's there to support you. So tonight we've been talking about Litha, Midsummer, Summer Solstice, St. John's Day, whatever you want to call it. It's a celebration weekend. We had the first weekend of summer, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, first weekend of winter. Not quite as exciting unless you're like, woohoo, I'm just that closer to warming up again. Actually, I like winter. It doesn't bother me. Paranormal Portal is in Medellin Falls, and so is Justin, where they are experiencing the Bigfoot phenomenon. And yes, Bigfoot's real. So, it talked about all sorts of different pagan-y type things, and the links will be in the show notes. And as I was scrolling through different articles, I was like, what else am I going to talk about? Because after a while, it's like, okay, we've talked about Litha for how long now? It's time to do something else, an hour and a half. Oh, my stars. Which I get. We do have a full moon coming up. The full moon will be on June 24th. It is called the Strawberry Moon. That'll be next week. A week from yesterday. It is considered a supermoon, meaning it'll be relatively closer to the Earth than most of the time. Full moon happens at exactly 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on the 24th, if you wanted to be the exact time. And in theory, strawberries should be ripe right about now. In theory, right? Ish. Thereabouts. Something new or something else to add to your journal. When you see things in the night sky, whether it's shooting stars, eclipses, UFOs. Okay, honestly, UFO, it's an unidentified flying object. Means that something is flying through the sky and you don't know what it is. It's not always paranormal. It's not always alien. Sometimes it's just something's flying in the sky and you don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. So yeah, you see something in the night sky, write it down, or the day sky. So like the other day when we had the chemtrails, cross-hatched across the sky. I mean, hello, clouds don't normally form a plaid pattern. No. So Yeah, it was interesting. And then we had the storm afterwards. And time is changing. Things are changing. Period. Things are just changing. Dawn shared something on Facebook. Let's see if I can pull this up. It was really interesting. And I shared it because I thought it was interesting, and Lucky noticed it. And let's see if I can find it real quick on the old phone. Oops, wrong button. I love technology. It helps if I hit the right buttons, right? Hey Dee, how's it going? Let's see. Yes, it was a good post. Where did I put it? And Lucky commented on it. Let's see. Doop, doop, doop. Oh, yeah, I shared one. It was really interesting. Another different one. It was talking about books that are being banned in the U.S. To Kill a Mockingbird has been banned. It's one of the most popular books that's banned in the U.S. And there's other classics. Catcher in the Rye, Red Letter, or The Scarlet Letter, Animal Farm, those types of things. Huckleberry Finn. You know, those books, do they address sensitive topics? Yes. However, those are part of our history. We need to remember those things. All right. So the post that Dawn posted or shared, it was how to know if you're about to jump timelines. So before a surge in energy or a jump to a higher timeline, there can be hours, days, weeks, or months even when you haven't completely adapted to the higher energy of the new timeline. The gap in frequency is what you experience, what is often called the little death. It feels like you are grieving. That's because you are. You are in the process of letting go of the previous timeline. You have to jump off the old timeline before you can land on the new one. Your higher self and your guides will be nudging you to jump timelines, but you're not quite there yet. You feel off. It can feel like you have no inclination to pursue activities that normally make up your day, or there can be specific activities that just no longer feel right. So, if you're experiencing those things, write them down. Journal them, because it's important. And notice the changes that you're, and detail the changes that you're experiencing, because the symbology is going to shift a little bit. And yeah, pay attention. That's all there is to it. Just pay attention. All right. So now for something a little lighter. It's from Reader's Digest also because I thought it was interesting. Basically, it's 50 things that you thought were facts but are not. Not very pagan, not very spiritual, but you know what? Yeah, it just needs to be said. Yeah. So if you're experiencing an energetic shift, you're going to feel it. You may feel a little hungover or just the bad case of the blahs. Don't beat yourself up for that kind of thing. Really, truly. Lucky says, yep, she didn't know that precipitated the shifts. Yeah. Just like animals migrating or flying out of, or birds flying out of an area prior to an earthquake, we are sensitive beings as well. Even if we have ignored that sixth sense for centuries, it's still there. It's the little quiet brain in the back of your head that's picking up on all the little signals, the ones that aren't not obvious. It's your subconscious that's screaming at you. Yeah. Pay attention. Journal it. All right. So, random factoids that are not actually facts. So, Napoleon. Everybody assumes Napoleon. Yeah, you got Napoleon syndrome. You're short. You got Napoleon syndrome, etc. So, Napoleon was actually 5'6". So at that time, he was actually average or a little above average for the height for men during that time frame when he was around. And the reason why he is talked about as being short is a propaganda campaign done by the British to make light of him or to belittle him, literally. They wanted to make him seem less to the people because he was a conqueror. He was not afraid to pick a fight with someone and win. So yeah, he wasn't actually short. It's a myth. Bagpipes are Scottish. Apparently they were in the Middle East before Western Europe. But they're always considered Scottish. Well, the Scots still use the bagpipes. Basically, if you need to make an instrument, you're going to figure out how to make some way to make noise. Bagpipes are made out of goats. And yeah. So they're yes, they are Scottish, but they're also from the Middle East. Let's see. Another one is don't eat and swim. So, talk to if you have health conditions, pay attention to your health, but eat and swim. Everybody's heard that. Don't eat or don't go swimming for an hour after you've eaten and all that. Because supposedly you would get cramps or something like that. Honestly, if you drink a lot before you go swimming, you're more likely to get cramps. The only thing a full stomach is going to do is make it harder to get a deep breath. So, yeah. Salt water boils quicker. No, actually, it just actually takes a little longer. It's just salty water does not boil quicker. So there's one that, as a kitchen witch, I have been told repeatedly is, if you put oil in your water before you boil your pasta, the pasta won't be sticky. Well, no, actually, it just makes it greasy. If you don't want your pasta to stick, you need to stir it. And if you put oil on your pasta after you've cooked it, it actually prevents the sauce from sticking to the noodles correctly. So it's not as good of a pasta experience. The left and right brain, supposedly. There's no solid division between the talents of each hemisphere. The left brain can learn right brain skills and vice versa. So if you're left-brained or right-brained, you're just brained. There's supposedly no difference. So the terminal velocity of a penny is 18 to 30 kilometers per hour. So it's not technically fast enough to kill someone, but it would hurt if it landed on you. So if you're on a skyscraper and you throw a penny off the skyscraper, it won't actually kill a person. It'll hurt, but it won't kill them. Interesting thing. So, in the Bible story when Jesus is born in Nazareth and the wise men are looking for him. So, okay, one thing. They don't show up that same night. They show up a couple months later, possibly years later, because camel travel is not very fast. So, yeah. But, a lot of biblical stories say there's 3 wise men, but the Bible doesn't actually say how many there are. There's just wise men. Let's see. Here's another one. Dogs sweat by salivating. So if your dog is panting, they're not actually sweating, they're just panting. That's how they regulate their temperature. But actually, they sweat through the pads on their feet. So, yeah, interesting thing. So there's another myth out there that says the Great Wall of China is visible from space. No, actually it's not. There's not a single human structure visible from orbit. However, you can see cities not individual structures. So, you know how some people say that if you flush the toilet in the northern hemisphere, the water spins one way, but if you flush in the southern hemisphere, it spins the other way? Technically, no, not in the toilet. The Coriolis effect does not affect the water in your throne, in your toilet. So there's another myth. Is that Einstein failed at math. No, actually, he didn't fail at math. He excelled at math. He just failed an entrance exam for a specific school. But he was very, very good at math. So, yeah. So here's one I'm on the fence on. It says humans and dinosaurs. So despite 41% of the U.S. adults thinking that we coexisted, as in humans and dinosaurs, supposedly they were the two missed each other by about 64 million years. Now, I kind of disagree with this particular timeline. I think there's more to it than that, because there are interesting people footprints next to dinosaur footprints in set in stone. So yeah, interesting. I think archaeologists, scientists, that kind of thing, don't have the whole picture. That's what I think. That's just my opinion. So black holes are not actually holes. They are rather hugely dense objects with massive gravitational pulls, so strong that they pull light towards them, so they appear as a hole. Now, this one I do agree with also, is that scientists feel that we have 21 senses rather than 5. Of those 21 senses, balance, pain, and temperature are 3 of them. See, Leo, I want to watch that episode. So Leo Medic says time is off. Medfossil Gaia tries to show it. Yeah. And dark matter doesn't exist. Yeah, all sorts of random things tonight, I promise. Yes, there's many, many senses. That it's not just 5. The 5 is touch, taste, sight, smell. Oh, dear. Oh, and hearing. Yeah, there's more than that. I'm skipping that one. Let's see. So this one is don't touch baby birds. Most birds have a limited sense of smell, so they won't abandon babies who smell like people. No, but if you move them, they get lost. So don't mess with the baby critters, period. Alcohol does not actually kill brain cells. They can damage brain cells, but they don't actually kill brain cells. Being pickled just means you're pickled. Supposedly, police do not require a 24-hour waiting period before accepting a missing persons report. I think that varies a wee bit with the department and the person who is missing. This one is true also. There is no different section of the tongue for each taste of bitter, sour, salty, sweet, and umami, which is the savory. Your different taste buds might get different sensations, but no, your tongue tastes everything. So we've heard that we only use 10% of our brain. Technically, the portion of our brain firing at any one time is task dependent. But ultimately every region is used almost every day. So it's not just, 10%. There's more to it. So Iron Maidens, supposedly, were not actually medieval torture devices. They were 18th century fakes used for sensational circuses and sideshows, because they were scary looking. So, yes, TV will kill your brain cells. So supposedly body heat and the head. So only in infants is most heat lost through the head, unless the head is the only uncovered part of the body. So, I know if I'm cold and I put on a hat, I'm not cold anymore. So I don't know about that one. Supposedly you should not wake up sleepwalkers because they might get violent or angry. So technically, scientists say that you should wake up a sleepwalker because they're going to be confused, and that's okay. But if you try to not wake them up, they're more likely to hurt themselves. No, Mini-Me will sleepwalk, and sometimes she gets really fussy and will start crying, and it's kind of freaky. She'll just wake up just sobbing. It's like, oh dear, she's having night terrors, and we have her go use the bathroom, and it resets her, and she's fine. She's absolutely fine. Bananas don't actually grow on trees. They're actually an herb. Did you know that? They resemble trees, but it's an herb. Supposedly milk increases the mucus in your mouth. Nope, it does not. There's no need to avoid the dairy if you have a cold. I avoid the dairy because it gives me a tummy ache and a headache. So, yeah. Bats are not blind. They can actually see. They can see. They also use echolocation, so they can see at night also. So they can do both. Sleep talkers are interesting to listen to, D. Yes. Just period. This is one that really drives me nuts that I hear a lot is caffeine dehydrates you. So supposedly if you drink coffee, it's making you dehydrated. No. Yes, there is a diuretic effect with caffeine. However, caffeine or coffee has a lot of water in it, so it's offsetting any potential diuretic effects. Goldfish do not have a 3-second memory. They actually have a 3-month memory. Little Man and Mini-Me. You know, it's interesting the things we call our kiddos. But yes, definitely a Mini-Me. Supposedly shaving does not thicken your hair. So regrown hair after shaving isn't thicker, coarser, or darker. It just appears so because it grows back with a blunt tip. Sure. Okay. It does not actually take 7 years to digest gum if you swallow it. It just kind of goes right through. So this one is really pertinent for our Nordic and Viking types. Viking helmets didn't actually have horns. That was a costume designer created that for a Wagner opera because it was spectacular looking, but it's not real. Alcohol does not actually keep you warm. It just dilates warm blood vessels near the skin, which makes you feel like you're warm, but you're not. Instead, it's actually dropping your body temperature or your core temperature. So if you are dealing with hypothermia, do not drink alcohol. It's going to make things worse. There are other ways to warm up. Let's see. So the vomitorium is not a room that Romans used for bacchanalian binges, but a name for the entrance to a stadium. I did not know that. Vomitorium. So yeah, it's a series of entrance or exit passages in an ancient Roman amphitheater or theater. Alrighty. Supposedly sugar does not cause hyperactivity. Now, because science says no, there's no connection. I have to tell you, I have seen kids right after having sugar. Yes, it does affect things. Supposedly poor and rowdy behavior still occur in children with sugar-free diets. Yes, that's true because kids can be jerks, but it's I've seen kids that get really interesting after sugar. Well, there's other things, but yeah. So you know when if bullfighters, especially like in Mexico or Spain, bullfighters, they have the big red cape or flag or whatever they're flying around. And supposedly bulls hate red. Nope, that's not true. They actually just see the movements of the cloth, and that's what they get upset. Excuse me, get upset about. Let's see. Toads don't cause warts, by the way. All right, so. So Adam and Eve ate an apple. So, according to the forbidden fruit of the tree of knowledge, it doesn't say anything about it being an apple. It's just fruit. So Genesis does not say it's an apple. Did you know that? Interesting thing. So, all right. That's pretty much it for the night. I'm going to do a rebroadcast tomorrow night because I've got family in town. I want to spend time with the family. So I want you guys to have a fantastic Litha, summer solstice, and party on, my friends, safely. Or winter solstice, either way. Be safe about it. So merry meet and merry part and merry meet again, and I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one all.